In my previous video, How Do We See? I spoke of our unconscious mind and our conscious mind. I spoke of how our conscious self fails to understand our unconscious mind. It is that part of the brain that runs most of our body on autopilot. Our unconscious body has a language of its own, which, if we succeed in understanding, our potential will be limitless. In this video, we'll take one step to understanding our unconscious body by understanding emotion. Our simple understanding of emotion is something happens in the world and we react to it. It's true, but not accurate. To understand why we have emotions, we must understand that the most important job of our unconscious brain is to regulate and coordinate the various systems of the body, like respiratory system, digestive system, etc. Now, as we live, through our experiences, our brain records and analyzes our bodily function. It senses how our body reacted in a particular situation and which of the reactions were the most advantageous. This information gathered is used to predict what kind of a situation is going to happen next and implement those bodily reactions in advance so as to survive the upcoming situation. Now, all these bodily functions, the reactions, are listed and summarized in one particular emotion. Let's try to understand this with an example. Consider a tribal kid. He lives in the forest among wild animals, so there are several near death experiences that he witnesses. Somehow or the other, he finds a way to survive it. In one instance, there is a wild animal who is chasing him to eat him. At the last moment, his body releases urine, and the stink of it repels the animal and saves the child. In another instance, the animal senses his body heat. So when his body turns cold, the animal no longer senses his high temperature body and then goes away. In another instance, it's night time, it's dark, and the animal is chasing this kid. So the kid simply stands still, unmoving, frozen in a place. The animal does not see him and then leaves. So, what the body does is gathering all this information, it understands that when in a dangerous situation, you must drop your body temperature, you must freeze yourself in a place, and you must urinate, wetting yourself. So, just how we conscious beings, in order to speak more in less words, we give individual words a dense meaning. Similarly, our unconscious body summarizes all these bodily reactions in form of a simple emotion. In this case, the emotion is fear. So in future, whenever a scary situation comes in front of this guy, like a wild animal approaching, first thing he would feel is fear. And the symptoms of fear would be his hands turning cold, his body temperature dropping. Then when animal comes closer, he freezes into place, not moving at all. Then when the animal comes very close, then this guy has the urge to urinate and is unable to hold his pee inside. So, what we consider fear as a reaction to the conscious mind, to an unconscious mind and our unconscious body, the fear is a means to trigger bodily reactions that would save us in that particular situation. Same goes with every other emotion. Our body records all the bodily reactions in our past experiences, note down what were advantages, and summarize all of them in one emotion. So that when it predicts a similar situation returning, the body simply triggers a particular emotion, putting all these bodily reactions into motion. Once you understand that, that's when you understand that you are the master of your emotions. So you can literally fool your unconscious brain to believe that a particular reaction is most beneficial in a particular situation. Say, for example, initially you were short tempered. So, whenever your computer stopped working, you became angry, you became aggressive, and you started hitting the computer until it started working again. So, when your computer in future stops working, you naturally become angry because your body needs to have that pumping blood in order to hit the computer until it starts working again. This kind of reaction is counterproductive. But if you train your brain to believe that whenever your computer breaks down, your natural reaction should be to be calm, to think and call a technician, then whenever next time your computer breaks down, you don't feel that anger because your brain simply triggers calmness so that you simply pick up your phone and call your technician guy. I believe there's a scientific explanation to every unexplainable and seemingly illogical phenomenon. But if you want to break down, reach to the essence of every piece of why, the only thing that we need to understand is whatever happens, happens the way it happens out of desire to exist as long as it can. But to come back to the topic of emotions, what I need to say is just like how alphabets are the building blocks of a language, the emotion, the positive and negative feedbacks like pain and pleasure are the alphabets of the language that our unconscious brain and body understands. Subscribe.